This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, that's all it counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Hey, folks. Welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd, and here we have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Just here ready for another excellent episode of One Nation Radio. Vibing with the Twitch chat. Big numbers off the rip. Everybody throwing a party in the comments. Did an appearance on Grapsody on Saturday, so we flew through like 3 hours like nothing on that show. That was super fun. Hope everybody checks that out. And yeah. So with you, man?
Not too much. Saw one of the best pay-per-views of the last few years, and like the last 20 minutes like bummed me the fuck out. But outside of that, like I'm in good spirits. You suggested I watch the Willow and Athena match, and that match was great. And we'll talk about that because I really enjoyed that match, and quite frankly, like it's at worst the second best women's match I've seen in America this year. So yeah, lots of good stuff, man. Lots of good stuff. So where do you want to start? Because you can always go with we can always start with AEW. How much of the ROH did you see?
I saw only the last 2 matches.
Okay. I
saw the men's title match and the women's title match. So besides that, like I'm looking at the run sheet, and man, it just feels like I gotta hit the music. Stardom 5-star Grand Prix, night 1.
Yeah, real quick before we move on to this, in the comments, I see that Shamus Nova says that I'm capping and I'm gleaming that his country bumpkin shoot injured Saya. First off, Tam didn't injure Saya. Saya jumped off of a thing 15 feet in the air, and then somehow like everybody was too close and she jumped too short and they couldn't catch her and she dislocated her elbow. I'm not happy about that. Like, my favorite thing in the last like 2 months in Stardom has been Saya Kamatani and Utami. Nah, man. Anyway,
I'm just baffled. I'm baffled someone got injured on a dive at all in Stardom. There's 20,000 motherfuckers around. Like, I was like, how did this happen?
Yeah, I guess let's start there and then we'll go through the show. But because overall it was one of the best shows of the year. And like, it bummed me out like the last 20 minutes of the show, 19 minutes of the show, because it was like they just went through like literally like 6 matches that you can consider great. And I was like, this thing is just cooking and humming. Now we're going to get to this. And they started breaking out the big spots and everything. And, you know, they get outside and they're out there for like 5 fucking minutes. And I'm just like, all right, Tam, I've seen enough of you having big matches when you go up to the ramp, does some big spot off the ramp, like you do in every big match of late. Like, you need to take some breaks between, right? So, and this is after, like, this is immediately following, like, the Anno Julia match where they do the Shuri, where they do the Shuri and Julia spot where they do all, a suplex off the ramp, where I'm just like, okay, so, like, these two have both become a bit formulaic in their big match layout of late. So, like, I'm kind of just like, all right, so, anyway, Kamitani gets up on the scaffolding or whatever else, and she goes for the big dive. And there's literally like May Sierra's out there, the new rookie that I don't know her name yet, Lady C, Mizumori, Momokogo's out there too. There are probably two. Hina was out there too. There was like over half a dozen people with Tam to go catch her, and it was one of those things where, like, I'm watching, I'm like, she's going up pretty high. And I see her they zoom in on her, and she does the move back. Because I don't want to land at a spot where I'm like landing on your head. Because I'm laying on your head, you're not going to catch me, and something bad will happen. So they back up, I guess. She does a dive. She dives on the front end, on the front part of the crowd. And I don't know if the first line of the crowd, like the people behind them, make it harder for them to, like, be able to catch and fall back. But, like, she basically, as she does a crossbody and comes down, she lands, instead of, landing at a 45-degree angle and coming down, she basically is coming at the 45-degree angle, but then, like, her body is tilting at the last second. I don't know if she got rotated by Lady C's leg or arm at the end by Kamitani's leg, but she ends up falling basically, like, directly, like, straight, on her arm. You can't see her arm on the fall, but, like, she, because I've replayed a bunch of times, just, like, trying to figure out how this could have been done better, and shit just happens. And she's down, Tam's down, they're down there forever, and, like, you immediately see people's faces like something didn't go right. Like, because you see cut their relief, kind of like, okay, we did that, now we can move on and sell like we just caught somebody. But then you see their reactions, like, okay, what's going on? Then they're down there. Then they're both, her and Tam are down there forever. I'm like, is Tam knocked out? Is Kamitani knocked out? What's going on? And then Daichi, he calls the match. C gets up, throws up the X. Kogo's face just has his face like, I can't believe this. C runs to get the doctor. I think it's Sierra goes and gets the stretcher, and the doctor comes, or Daichi comes and puts the ice pack on her elbow. My first thought was, because it's Stardom, oh shit, this reminds me of the Mayu Iwatani thing in 2017 when she dislocated her elbow in the red belt match. She had to award the belt to Toni Storm. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, fuck, okay, this sucks. So, she's like, you never see her face until she finally gets on the stretcher. Like, she's basically on her knees, like balled up in almost like fetal position on her knees with her face down, and she has holding her left arm. And Tam and by the time, the doctor sees her and everybody else, they tell her to clear out, and it's just her and Tam and the doctor. And, like, Tam's trying to console her or give her wise words and some type of encouragement to tell her, I know it hurts and everything, but it's going to be okay and all that kind of stuff. And she goes off, they put her on a stretcher, and she turns over, and you can see that just, I don't know if it was pain or a combination of the pain plus the, I want to finish this match and it didn't happen. And they lift her up and they take her off, and they cut to Tam, and Natsupoi saying stuff to Tam, some type of encouragement. So Tam gets in the ring, and she has to do the stupid fucking thing where it's like, well, we have an angle in the back of this, so I have to give some promo to go in there and get beat up on, and I'm just like, y'all could have called audible to save this for another day. Like, obviously, I don't think Kamitani is, like, she's never going to wrestle again. It's not that severe. But it was just everybody was bummed out. And then when you continue doing this, it's like, all right, so Tam looks like an asshole. Utami looks like a super asshole because her fucking, the person that she had that whole cage match singing and was hugging and loving on each other and all that kind of stuff just a month ago. Nah, we need to go bring this giant out here to go face Tam so they can do Tamomania, right? And I'm just like, yo, this stinks. I don't like this for anybody that's involved in all this. So yeah, I just like the last 20 minutes was just a bummer after, like, and when I say literally, like, I don't think there have been 3 shows better than this year up to that point.
I am very bummed out that Saya Kamatani is probably now out of the tournament.
Presumably, yeah.
She's my second favorite wrestler in Stardom. She's stinks. And they didn't even really get to like do much. They went probably like 5 or 7 minutes, and then
they went like 8 minutes.
Yeah, and it was just damaging. Like, and you could just see the look on everyone's faces. That was like something has gone tragically wrong, and it rolls into that angle with none other than the Megasis showing up, and she comes out and they turn the lights off and then turn them back on and all that. She jumps on Tam's head. Gives her some, knees in the corner, brings her back out, and gives her the damn F5 or whatever.
Yep.
Looks pretty decent, but she's out there with Utami. She cuts the promo where she's talking slow, of course, because this is her first time in Japan, presumably, and
it's Eddie Kingston brain. If you speak English very slowly, they will comprehend the part where like it's in a different language. No, that's not how that works. That's never how that's ever worked. They might know 1 or 2 words, just like how like when they speak in Japanese, you might understand 1 or 2 words, right? That's not how that works.
I am Megasis. I am strong. Tam, I want red belt match. Like, they don't understand you either way. So the only people that, when we see it, that is us, we're like, why are you speaking like this? Like, we know what you're doing. Wrestlers, stop doing this. Please.
Please do. Please. Because it's like, I've never seen her talk before. I've only seen a picture of her before one time, never seen her wrestle. So, like, she comes out and talks. Legend. Say again?
AEW Dark Legend.
Yeah. So she says it. I'm just like, I know what she's doing. Also, you sound ridiculous. Please stop.
Yeah. I don't think they were going to, basically push it back or anything, because that was going to happen after the match, whether, it was an injury or not. Like, flew the Megasis out, and Megasis, probably, there's probably a tight schedule here.
But the tight schedule. Well, that is true. The next pay-per-view is the Osaka show. Bro, they're doing Osaka Edion Arena. Like every single year when the G1 has like that great show in the back half of the year.
Yeah.
It's always in Osaka Edion.
So,
and presumably that's where the red belt match will be.
I was gonna say, we got our red on here, me and you, James, to signify this red belt title match that's about to happen with Tam.
It is not.
The Megasis.
This is a coincidence.
I remember, everybody was saying how bad the Julia title reign was, man. I don't know about this. What's about to happen with this, man? This is about to be a carry job. What's going on here?
Look, man, I don't know how good she is. People have, vouch for her. I don't know how far she's vouching for. But regardless of how good she is or isn't, or if she's very good and whatever. So the whole cook up of that thing is going to be Tam selling in from underneath, or beating from that woman. She's going to fire back. It's not going to be too. I don't think it's going to be too dissimilar from the match she had in the Grand Prix last year with Risa Sera. Obviously, Risa's probably better than her. That match was 4.25. But like, if you're going to, I don't know how this helps you draw. What's the point of this match? You know what I'm saying? Like, if the idea is we want her to have a red belt match, okay, bring her in, let her demolish the undercard and tags on the undercards of these tour of the Grand Prix, and then give her a match like in September. Or not September, October. I don't get this.
I think what they try to do is like, this is probably going to be the most watched show of the tournament. We're going to shoot an angle at the biggest time to give the biggest effect. And they happen to pick a time when, like,
the absolute worst time for characters. Yes. Because of the circumstance. Yeah, I get that. But my point is, I get all that stuff, and I'm trying to make accommodation for that. But at the same time, it's like, you just made Tam Inutami look like what? Like never, like, because I said to you on the thing is like Utami's out there trying to vouch for Megan, and she's just like, yeah, she came back with me from America, even though like we never had any interaction when I was in like Orlando area or whatever else. But never mind that, I'm just gonna fly back over. She came along with me.
It's all the
and
same.
As you can see, she's tall. She's tall. She's powerful. She's a badass. And I'm just like, Kamatani is en route to the emergency room. Why are you doing this? This is, you know how we killed Rhea Ripley for making that save, and also Jeff Hardy for making the save on Matt Hardy when like Bianca and Matt Hardy were getting beat down. They got to do their pose, whatever else, at the top of the ramp. This is 1,000 times worse than that. Somebody is literally already en route to the hospital, not about to be sent to the hospital.
Someone was shoot injured. Like,
what the fuck, bro? So bad. It was so bad. It was such a bad look. It really was. But I get it. You got to get this stupid thing over because, like, you got 2 weeks to the pay-per-view. It's like, I get it, but that sucks. It really did.
And then the other part of it, Mayu Iwatani's out there, and then Utami's out there, and they set up a match for the IWGP Women's Belt. So I guess, you know, everybody, we did what I thought was a great preview last week with an hour breakdown, cut up the clip, had people sharing it. That entire thing got blown into smoke immediately. Seemingly.
Look, it could be a situation where they're going 1-1 because, like, it could be Mayu retains. Or actually, it could be like Utami takes the belt off of her, Mayu wins the Grand Prix. It could be something like that, right? Or it could be like, you know, one of them wins the match, the other one beats them in the rematch in the Grand Prix final. That could absolutely happen. But
it's like, damn, like why would you like? I don't know, man. Yeah, like why would you like waste the final like weeks beforehand? Like
think about it like this, right? Man. If Utami, everyone thought Utami was like most people thought Utami was going to win, right?
What happened to Nanae Takahashi getting a shot at that belt? Was that just a rumor?
That they talked about that, it just hasn't happened because they haven't defended it since the Yokohama Arena show back in the end of April. Yeah, right. So
Mayu Lesnar
because they had to make a strong women's title too. Yeah. So anyway,
Mayu Reigns.
So anyway, Utami, let's say she loses, she doesn't get the belt, or let's say she does get the belt. It's like, is she going to win? They're going to make her double champion? Could be. But like if Mayu retains because, you know, they're still doing that movie, they're obviously at some point they're going to try to do a huge Mayu and Tam match for the title at some point, you would imagine.
I mean, the Megasis might, you know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That would be hilarious. Like Tam loses the red belt and then like wins the Grand Prix to go get it back. I mean, it's like, what the fuck are we doing this year with these title reigns, bro? Like, what is happening?
There'll be some real sickness going down on this show. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So anyway, it's been a really weird, like the way they have like done stuff with the title picture. Both title pictures this year have been weird as fuck. And uncharacteristic of what has been going on since we started watching it. And I get like they're trying to, you know, throw people off the scent of what their pattern is, but like the reason why the pattern works so well is because like it just made sense and it wasn't anything goofy. And now we're in the stages of like goofy stuff. And I don't mean to disparage Megan in that way. I'm sure the match will be perfectly acceptable. But like, if you're going to give this woman a title shot, can you at least like show people the goods? Like, can you let her get over? Because if she's big and impressive, she's gonna get over anyway. Right? Because just everybody gets over in Stardom when they're big and impressive anyway. So it was like I don't know what this is. And you know, sure enough, like on the undercards of next week's show or whatever else, she's gonna be demolish a bunch of the mid carders or some shit like that probably. So it's like, all right. You could have done this in like, you know, a bigger spot to help her get over to, you know, the pay-per-view audience or the live crowds or whatever else. And just, you know, it's almost, it's very The Giant-ish. It was like, yo, you're not doing this person many favors other than you're going to give them this big push. But like, if it don't work out, you'd be like, well, fundamentally, it could be. You could say you set them up for failure if it doesn't work out.
This is true. It's always when I think about the glass that Shuri had to crawl over to get a shot at the red belt. I think about how Julia had to scrape and crawl and go through the fires of hell to get a red belt shot last year. And then I think about the Megasis. Rules different when you're white, I guess. Rules different, apparently. But we should run through the rest of this show.
Yeah. All right. So moving on from literally like 20 minutes of a 4-hour show of excellence. Let's get into it. The 5-star Grand Prix opening night. So they had the. I'm going to talk about the opening ceremony first, and then I'll talk about the undercard match. But the opening ceremony starts with them like the scaffoldings all around the ring. I was wondering what that was or why it's there, and then all of a sudden you see them drop four sheets of, they can cover the ring or whatever else, and then they play projectors showing, to the crowd, the presentation, and it's showing the history of every winner in the past from Izuki Akawa to Nanai to Io to Kairi to Yoko Bito to Toni Storm to Mayu to Hana Kimura to Utami to Shuri to Julia, and then they show all the wrestlers in each block, and then they show like 2 stars, a red star and a blue star, basically traversing across the globe and everything, going over buildings, whatever. It's like a gigantic impact of force, and then like they drop down the curtains and everything, and then like all 19 of the 20 wrestlers in the ring. Utami's not there, and there's a reason for that, but they're all in the ring, and then they introduce and they all walk out and everything, and it was really cool. I thought it was really big. I didn't like the music compared to the last 2 years, but everything else made it seem like it was a gigantic deal and just huge hoopla for it and everything, and it was really fun. So
it seemed like it was like the like a Mortal Kombat character select screen, like when they would walk off. And I don't know if you noticed, James, but it felt like they did these exits in a certain order.
Yeah, it was almost like the people that were like the last 6 people are the only people that have a real shot to win, except for Utami, who wasn't out there. Yeah.
Yeah. And the first person that was sent up, away was Momo Watanabe, you know.
Yeah, you got like when they walk out the ring, they walk up the horizontal ramp, and then they go and sit. They go to their post, and like gotta say, like seeing Natsuko and Momo like in opposite blocks on the farthest ends, like in the dark, is like
that sounds like positioning.
Yeah, that's exactly what that sounds like. Like I know that the opening night this year, like they had like all 20 heads are equal size, but when you do this, it's like this is another giveaway. So I'm sorry though,
don't worry.
She won opening night. She's not. She might get a white belt shot, but she ain't winning this shit.
Yo, like this ain't the only poster. Like this is how they do you in the beginning. They put out the equal opportunity head size on the posters, but the further we get in the tournament, the bigger heads are going to start to emerge. And then the smaller heads are gonna start to emerge. Like they're gonna make like all of them start the same size, right?
Yep.
But some of them get bigger and some of them get smaller.
Yeah. Because that's what happened. I don't know if the first poster for the opening night last year had all the wrestlers on it, but like that final night, you saw 8 big heads and you saw 16 small heads, and we talked about it.
And then all of a sudden, the poster is on One Nation Radio, and I am struggling to find, whoever we're looking for.
Yeah, and last year in particular was Momo Watanabe. Yeah, it was.
Man, we will keep an eye out. When the new posters drop, tag me and James, and we gonna look at them and tell you what the deal is.
I forgot who it was, but made a great point. Big head equals push. That's exactly what that shit means. So yeah, like I believe the final 6 in the ring were Mina, Julia, Mirai, Tam, Mayu, and Shuri. Obviously Utami wasn't out there. I think the 7th person was Kamitani. But yeah, like That's pretty much, if you weren't one of the last half of people being called, and like when you go up the ramp and you weren't like in the closest to Tam and Julia on either side, your ass ain't winning. The further away you are, from glory. That's kind of how that goes. That's kind of what this promotion is. The further you are from Tam and Julia, you are further from glory in the last 2-3 years of this promotion. That's kind of how that goes. So, anyway, to start off the show, I got to pull up my notes because I haven't done that yet. Sorry. This is supposed to be
professional radio.
Yeah, something approaching it, right? Utami versus Hina. I'm sorry, not Utami. Micah versus Hannon. Man, Micah comes out second. She gets up in the corner to do her pose, and then Hannon just jumps her while she's on the rope, drop kicks her, sends her over the top rope, brings her back in, and she's just like, hey, I don't believe she didn't win a single match last year. She's like, look, I gotta get on the board, I gotta strike when iron's hot, I gotta show some initiative, I can't beat her in a 1-on-1, I'm just going, I'll jump her and then let the bell ring, and I'm gonna try and get her on the mat and steal a one to get out of there. And she kept trying. She kept putting it on Micah at the beginning, but Micah just like eventually got her wits about her, and then just took overwhelmed with power, and eventually dropped her with a Michinoku driver. This is a good match for how short it went. I think it went like just over 5 minutes, but I gave it 3 stars. I really enjoyed the match. And Micah it's just such a badass, just taking what Hannon was bringing to her, and Hannon, like, this was like probably the most assertive she looked in any Grand Prix match I've ever seen her in, and she just like couldn't put her away, and then Micah was just like, all right, I see what you're doing, enough, and just finish her with the Michinoku driver.
Yeah, Micah she ain't had no time for this whippersnapper.
Yep.
Really ain't too much funny to Micah.
I mean, she laughed after she beat her.
That was adorable.
Yeah. Next match, you have Azumi versus Mariah. So the match is of starting. They both get in the ring, and Mariah is half-heartedly doing the high-speed stuff with Azumi, but she's also putting her twist of trolling into it. And Azumi's like, "What's this?"
Yeah, like Azumi's sitting in the corner. She like looks at her, and like as she rolls out, she's like, I can't believe you're trying to disrespect me in Azumi's ring. Yes, speaking in third person. Like, what kind of disrespect is this? And then, they got into it, and they ended up having a pretty good match.
I thought this match was very good. I was impressed by this match. Because obviously, I thought that obviously Azumi can slow down. I think people kind of overstate the getting out of her formula thing, but like, there is obviously like a thing with her where it's like she wants to go, but like it's almost like a luchador where like you see like those Rey Mysterio and Andrade matches where it's like the only thing they're doing to make these matches more palatable to like the people that are watching it that are used to slow, boring WWE wrestling is like they're just like between the big spots is they just lay on the floor and sell. Like that's the only difference. So what Azumi does between her high speed stuff is like she just sells more, and she was really good at it with Mariah. And I thought Mariah like held up her end of the bargain very well. And like I really like the finish where like Azumi is, after she took some of Mariah's like, funny stuff, start putting it on her, and then worked on her arm. It was about to, go for the La Mystica and get her and, and stretch on her. And like Mariah just holds her, grabs her out of thin air and hits her with the her tombstone. I think she calls it the not Fairy Tale Island. That's the Chiampa shit, but it's something like that. But hits her with it and gets the win. And I'm giving it 3.5 stars. I really liked it, and like this is a good sign for the future of this tournament in that block. If those two are going to go out here and have a match of that level.
Yeah, I was kind of caught off guard on this one. I was like, wow, what an upset here. I didn't pick that one.
Yeah,
but whatever.
Yeah. So next match after this, you get Natsuko versus Ami, and they just start off by just
Ariel, Natsuko, Tora.
They start off by just running to each other, obviously, and it appeared to me that Ami showed herself to be the stronger wrestler, and then it came down to where she's about to be finished. She's about to she hit her with the Ami hits the Blue Thunder Bomb. Natsuko kicks out. Ami gets her up and is going for her like the what is the power driver thing that Brody King does? What's it called? I forgot what it's called. Basically, it's like
sure.
Basically, I forgot what it's called, but she calls it like a thunderbolt or whatever else, and she was going to go for it. That's her finish, and Natsuko slips out and pushes the ref, and then blows the miss like Kagetsu style, and then she hits a series of she hits the Kagetsu Death Valley driver for near fall, gets her up, hits another one by the corner, and then she hits the Swanton and gets the win.
Gonzo Bomb. Thank you, King of the North.
Yes, Gonzo Bomb. That's what it was. Yes. So yeah, this is a good match. I give it 3 stars.
Yeah, Ariel Natsuko surprised me. I thought they came out here and they were hitting and working. I was like, man, if y'all just wrestle like this, like it's gonna be a pleasant tournament.
Yes, keep it short and like the cheating that she did, like that's just something that's done real quick, get out the way, and then move on. And like that's more acceptable than grab a chain, choke a bitch, throw her over the thing, grab her and choke her out, and then they have to throw the match out. Like that's garbage. Or got to grab the stick and hit her with the stick. Like that. Nah, throw that out. Just missed.
When Natsuko did this, I was like, "What? Well, hold on. What the fuck is she doing?" Like
Swanton. Or you thought she was gonna do the? You thought she was gonna get to the 450?
Yeah, so I was like, "Hold on, she about to try to." Pay some tribute to old damn time. Like, what is she signaling for? Like, I ain't never seen Natsuko hit no front flip off this bitch.
Look, man, maybe it's something she's saving for Hazuki. Who knows? We'll see. Time will tell, right?
And for those on the audio thing, I was doing like the 450 roundabout signal with the hands.
Oh man, so so this is when the show starts kicking the overdrive. Now we give you 3 good matches. Now it's time to give you like just like we're buckle in is all up from here. Natsupoi versus Starlight Kid. This is I believe their 6th. I think it's their 5th match. Their 5th match. They were tied at 2-2, and they did it again. I can't remember what happened in this match. So much stuff happened over the weekend or whatever else, but like this is another great match. And it looked like Kid had this match seemingly won until at the last second, Natsupoi slips free and goes for a rolling Mahi straw cradle and gets the win. So like I don't know how this works, right? So Rich, like beforehand, do you send the in over to Natsupoi's opponents beforehand, or how does that work?
So usually I just pay them beforehand in good faith. I'm like, hey man, win, lose, or draw. You know what it is. Like you got to go ahead, inflict some pain, give me a nice gift or some type of moment within the match I can just save for my collection. If you get the win, it's a bonus. Okay,
I didn't know if it was like I'm paying you to go out there and beat her, and then like if you lose, and like that money just magically goes to Natsupoi. Or I don't know how that goes in your head canon, in the mind of a psychopath. But yeah, so yeah, Natsupoi gets the win. She's up 2, and Kid, she came out like I guess she cut her hair because she came out with like almost like a like the Somerset Liger mask, Rey Mysterio mask, where it's like the top was off and like she had the bangs come through the top or whatever else. So she's coming with a new look. I like their new gear. Yeah, I mean they're just always quality together, and the only thing that's gonna stop them from having a great match is the time. That's the only thing that's gonna stop them. But there's another great match.
They were hitting back and forth like just like taking hard swings at each other, like with the hand-to-hand combat, and of course they threw a little high speed in that we all pretty much enjoy, and this was perfect for where it was on the card because everything after this was like we going somewhere else with it.
Yeah. So then, as you noted, like Utami, she wasn't out during the opening ceremony. Mina comes out, or actually Utami comes out first. And Utami comes out and she was wearing her red belt championship gear that she has not worn not one time since she lost the red belt.
All we need is the extensions. Let's go. Bring them back.
No, and she had the hair in.
Oh, okay. It didn't look like it. It looked like her natural.
It wasn't all red, it was black. But she did have she did put hair in. So
she brought the power back.
Yeah, and I saw that, I was like, oh, it's spooky now. That's exactly I was like, oh, it's spooky now. She really finna do this, and then what happens at the end of it? I was like, God damn it, get this shit out of the way. You messing up the story. But it was almost like some. I don't know if you made this comparison, but you often have made comparisons of her to Okada. This is almost like she pulled off that Wrestle Kingdom and she pulled off and she had the pants again instead of the long johns. It was one of those I'm back. I know this whole gold era of stuff I've been wearing that was Balloons Okada. Now I'm back, and her and Mina had his match.
They got me so many times during this match. I was unspoiled. Man,
they had a match as good as I had imagined they could possibly have together, and it blended perfectly. And it was one of those things where it was in retrospect, you're like, of course it was going to fucking work between. The underrated thing about Utami is that she's an incredible seller. She's one of the best sellers in the world. I think, I've said this before to you a million times. I think she's the best seller of the arm in wrestling we have. But she comes out, she's overpowering Mina. She makes one mistake. And Mina, I forgot what the situation. Oh, it was a DDT. It was a DDT on either the floor or the apron, from Mina, and then Mina just targets the neck over and over and over. And the whole thing is Utami is has to power through and fight through this bad neck, while Mina just taking it to her neck over and over and over. And there was a spot where you get down to the closing stretch where Mina goes up and hits her with, the glamorous driver right on the neck, kicks out, goes up, that goes for the figure four glamorous driver that, wanted her white belt and everything. And Utami managed to slip out. She ends up, mounting some offense. She goes to hit her with a big bridge in German that she ends up winning most of her matches with, or a lot of her matches with. And she goes for the bridge, and she has to let go because her neck's too fucked up. She can't even hold for the pinfall. That's a double down. And they continue going a little bit more. And then Utami, instead of she was trying to get her for the I think she hits a rack bomb. Mina gets out of it. Then she hits her up with the a gut wrench power bomb, and then drops her. And she later says that she got it from hanging out with Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler do the gut wrench power bomb. So I think she calls it Sparkling Baszler now.
Yeah.
And man, this match is great. 4 stars.
Bro,
super happy with this match.
I think I'm higher than that because bro, it seemed like each person had to match one 3 different times.
Right. And it went long enough to where you were in my mind, I was like, oh, is this going to a draw?
Mm-hmm.
They were going up against the bell too. And I was like, I don't know if this is going to finish or if it's going to, be a draw. I didn't know. But it all worked for me. I love this match.
Yeah, I think I'm 4 1/4 on this.
Yeah, this is bro, Mina has had her 4 best singles matches in this since April.
Look at that.
The Utami match, the Tam match, the Kamatani match, the Natsupoi match, all the matches on pay-per-view in a big spot. She's came through and had 4 stars or better in all of them. Or really, well, as you said, in your opinion, at this point, all of them have been 4.5 or 4 1/4. So, yeah, man, she's. I can't wait for this Mirai match. We finna see, bro. If they they need to have this Mirai match. She needs to win, and they need to go have a white belt match after this.
At the end of the year.
Yes.
Let's do it.
She ain't done nothing. I know me and JD from Lately Virtual was talking about this, and he said, in his opinion, he thinks that Mariah should be most improved wrestler, and I'm just like, nah, man. I understand that that Mina got a lot of votes last year because of the Grand Prix, but the level, we talk about this all the time when it comes to NBA most improved player. If you make a level improvement from somebody that is competent to good or even very good, that jump is not nearly as special as the jump from potentially very good to great. She has taken that jump from very good to until she has a dud, you gotta say she's great at this point. Because every time you put her in a big match, she keeps coming through. She's a great wrestler now. She's not just very good. She's great now. She's almost a pro wrestler of 2023. And I would have voted for her last year. But she's made a bigger, more substantial jump. It's harder to do. It's been incredible watching her. It's been incredible watching her this year. Very happy for her. And I want her to get this white belt back, get this long reign whenever it happens.
Yeah.
She's done everything that a company can ask her to do, and she's done it.
I thought there was an upset alert on this one, but it wasn't to be. But yeah, Big U rolls through for the 2.
Yeah. So then you get following that, you get Mariah versus Momo, and this match started out a little slow, and then by the time it got going, they were cooking.
Yeah.
I gotta say, it feels good to see this Momo back, because we hate seeing much of it this year. This woman is 23 years. This woman is 23 years old and has been written off. This is still one of the best wrestlers in the world. She's 23, Rich.
They have written her off like a young 2-guard, like that was in like the early 90s or some shit. Like, yeah, you know, they're 25 now. It hasn't really popped off.
Rich, they treat her like she's Chauncey Billups in Boston.
Yeah.
Like, exactly. Nah, it's not gonna work.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Look,
man.
Look,
so awesome.
I donned the Momo Watanabe jokes. I engage in it. I traffic in it. I will never disrespect that woman's ability. Like,
never.
The second they want to just say, "Hey, we would like to push you again," she'll be ready for it.
Just press the button.
She got the win here, so she's probably gonna secure a white belt match sometime in the future. Yeah,
bro, some of the counters in this were just like, there was a spot, I forgot, I can't remember what it was, but she turned into basically the Meteoro, where like Mariah had her overhead and she just turned to Meteoro. I was like, Jesus Christ, she's still fucking brilliant. I can't believe they just wrote her off like this at 23 years old.
A 9.04 rating on Cage Match.
Yeah.
Wrestler 4.
Yeah. So, well, I don't want to spoil it because I'm going to be giving away JD's behind the wall content, but like, she's elite. She's been elite over the last 5 years, even with this down push for the last year and a half. She's still elite. Now, I'll leave it at that.
King of the North. Never count out Momo Watanabe.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how good that woman is. It's just like, nah, you know. Like, bro, I still have a hard time saying, Utami's better than her. Because I was like, nah, man. She's more versatile as a wrestler. Like, Utami shines in singles. Momo can do it all. Tags, trios, even the death matches, doing this heel shtick bullshit and still having quality matches with it. Just so fucking good. Anyway, so the next match after this, Shuri versus Suzu Suzuki, and
Good
they went
God,
out there
yes.
and they set a high bar for whoever is going to try to top whoever has the best match in the 15-minute block segment, because this is, I mean, I don't think this was as good as the Shuri and Utami an opening weekend from last year, but it's in the discussion as far as like it's gonna be a while before you get a match as close to as good in that same time span to beat it. It was awesome.
I gotta say, James, I feel like I should have seen DJ Premier sitting ringside. I should have seen Large Professor sitting ringside. I should have seen Pete Rock sitting ringside. I should have seen the Hitmen. I should have seen Dr. Dre sitting ringside. I should have seen Timbaland sitting ringside. Why? Because this was real hip hop right here. Like, Shuri and Suzuki, thank you. I have nothing else to say. Thank you for your brilliance and your excellence in Suzuki not giving a fuck that she's 20 years old, like having no back down whatsoever. And Shuri just like saying, "Yo, you're raw, but I'm way more raw than that."
Yeah, man. Like,
this was incredible. Oh my god,
they beat the shit out of each other. Incredible mat wrestling. Incredible like subverting expectations based off when to sell, when not to sell. Like, I don't know how often people have seen the Suzu spot where she gets on the apron and throws and does the German suplex throw off of the apron and send someone to the floor. I've seen it a few times, so I know that's one of her magic tricks. But if you have not seen it before, you probably think like, this woman is like the best women's wrestler in the world. If you see some shit like that for the first time, I've seen her do it a few times. So it's, you know, whether it was like the funniest one when she did this Sakushi, because like Sakushi's so damn little, you know, Sakushi's like 4'9". She sent her flying, but she sent Shuri this time, and like I was like, God damn. One thing to note, like Shuri, she's almost back to her like fighting shape.
Yeah.
Like she's
I noticed
even more ripped than she has been in the past. Like, yeah, you know, if this were WWE, we'd be like, she might be expecting a big push, but who knows what she's doing? Like, but she looks great right now. Yeah, man, this match was awesome, and they killed it. And you know,
I was like 4.5 on this easy, maybe higher.
I like to not give the 4. I like to give the Stardom 5-star Grand Prix matches. Like I kind of cap it at 4.5. I'm happy to give 4.5. 4.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've only given 2 15-minute Grand Prix matches 4.5 ever. Or no, yeah, 2 of them. Like the Utami match last year. This, I gave the Shuri and Takumi match 4 3/4, but that went 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's a little different. But yeah, man, this thing was cooking, and like, you know, you can look. One of the safest bets in all of pro wrestling is Shuri in the opening weekend of 5-star Grand Prix. Go the fuck off.
Bro,
it's 3 years in a row.
Like, if you guys didn't see this match, or if you're like listening to this and you still haven't like decided to jump into Stardom yet, and you just listen to us talk about it, these are all kind of like mythical characters or anything. These people aren't myths. Shuri Suzuki is real. Like Shuri and Suzuki, they are real. They exist. Yeah. Go see them.
Yeah, like this thing. Now we talked about this on the front end. I said this to Rich, like, hey man, this thing has an NA for the main event, and this thing still smoked the opening night of Grand Prix of the G1. I'm sorry, it smoked it. Like this thing is incredible. So following that match, you get another awesome match. You get Mayu Iwatani versus Suzuki. Look, man, you know, I'm sure you've heard people say this, older people, because, you know, there's a huge, like, generational age, like, discrepancy for the polarization of E40, right? So this is for the old heads.
Man.
This is for the old heads. So, like, if you're 45, like, you're a person that's likely to say, and there ain't no out-rapping E40, there ain't no out-wrestling Suzuki. This one's fucking awesome. So,
bro,
I'm not even going to go. I'm just going to go.
Violent as like the last match was. It was like violence. They were kicking the shit out of each other. It was all that. Like Mayu and Suzuki come out here and it's just this beautiful wrestling. That's just like it's
still
gorgeous.
violent, but it's just big move, impact move. They're awesome selling, near falls. Like the match before was just chaos of strikes and suplexes. This is like big move, beautiful wrestling, and like great like counters. So the closing stretch of this match.
So I could have threw these two in there with the Bucks, like
easily. So closing stretch of this match, Mayu goes up, hits the beautiful frog splash, gets it near fall, goes back up, goes for the moonsault. Hazuki rolls out the way at the very last second and rolls all the way out to the floor. Mayu comes out to go for the tope. Hazuki ducks out the way. She runs it, and Mayu flies into the crowd of catchers. Hazuki gets into the ring, rolls out, hits and the ducker or the catcher's still down. Mayu has to catch Hazuki by herself. Damn near, they both almost die. You know, because they're both falling almost seemingly head first into the bare floor because they're out of space for the mats, right? The mats have ran out of real estate. Gets up, hits another one, gets her into the ring, and throws her into the corner, puts her feet into the second rope, and then hits a second rope like code breaker. Then goes up to the top rope, hits the senton for a near fall. She makes a face like, fuck, I thought I was going to beat her. But she doesn't like freak out. She makes a little frustration, gets her up, goes for the brain buster, has her up there. Mayu slides out. Mayu then pushes her against the ropes. Hazuki comes back, super kick. Actually not a super kick, but grabs her, tombstone. They're both down. Hazuki goes into the opposite corner. Mayu goes to the opposite corner. Mayu runs to the opposite corner and hits a running claymore into the corner. I was like, what the fuck? So, and then the rest was just like, it's academic from that point. Hazuki just is done, gives her a big buzzsaw kick, and then goes up for the moonsault. Hazuki kicks out, goes to give her the big 2-stage dragon suplex. Hazuki then gets out, hits the Lamayi straw, kicks out at 2.999. Hazuki can't follow up. That was her last gas. She has nothing else. And Mayu knows it. Buzzsaw kick or super kick, which one? Can't remember which one. And then Hazuki no sells it. And then Mayu ducks behind her, hits the flash dragon suplex. Hazuki kicks it one, gives her another kick, and then hits her with the 2-stage dragon suplex. I was like, Jesus, these two just geniuses, man. They're just they're so fucking good. They make the shit look easy.
Yeah, it was just like, this is why this shit killing the G1. I'm about to get real tribal right here. Like, yo, like, bro, motherfuckers want to talk about tournaments, you know, like, you want to be like, remember when I was on this show a couple weeks ago talking about the Owen Hart tournament? There are no fucking dynamic workers in this. This fucking tournament rolls out. Utami or Nasa Point and Starlight Kid, Utami versus Mina, Momo versus Mirai, Shuri versus Suzu Suzuki, Mayu Utami versus Hazuki, Julia versus Cero Ano, all back to back to back to back to back.
Yep.
And then I've got G1 days where there's one good match and shit happening.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Screaming from the mountaintops. This is the best tournament in wrestling. And look, in Newsflash, it didn't happen just this year.
The last 2 years, it was a better tournament. And obviously, it looks like we're headed towards a 3-peat. And I said that in the preview. And like, after watching this night, it was like, I may have undersold how big of an onslaught this is. This is just not even fair, it seems like, man.
Miss me with Chase Owens versus Hikuleo. Like, yeah. I no.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it.
Evil and Finley. Yeah.
I don't want to hear it. Sonata struggling in the main events. I don't want to hear it. Tell who you want.
So, you know, we went on this rant now, and then like after this comes Julia versus Ariano. So these two start off with, I believe they start off with some mat wrestling.
Get in the ring.
They start off with some mat wrestling, end up on the floor or outside on the apron. They take it out to the horizontal ramp, and then they basically tease like the Shuri and Julia spot from Sumo Hall that I was at the end of last year. And except what they end up doing is Ano slips out of it, and then she gives Julia the big vertical suplex on the chairs, and then the back of Suzu's head gets busted open. Or not Suzu, but Ano, and she's bleeding for the rest of the match from the back of her head, and it trickles down, and she's, you know, because she's a goddamn, you know, as we talked about, a low-life scumbag, she's just reveling in the part where, like, I got blood, I got blood in the match. I love it. And then they proceed to throw each other into opposite sides,
just dumping each other on the chairs over and over
sets
again.
Of chairs or whatever else around ringside. They get in the ring, and they proceed to go out there and just kill it again. They have basically another sprint match after that or whatever else. It's just awesome. And ultimately ends up going to a draw where Julia at the last thing got the glamorous driver, but end up getting only getting a 1 count from Daichi as the bell rang. But it was awesome. I gave this 4.25.
Yeah, man. I feel like we may be underrating some of this stuff too. Like these cage match scores are off the charts on this show.
Well,
I don't know if you've seen them.
I've seen it. I thought at first like they might be a little high. And honestly, like I wanted to rewatch this. I watched this on like 3 hours sleep, but I was in love with these matches. Also, I didn't mention it, but I gave that Hazuki and Mayu match 4.25 as well. So like we're just follow 4.5, 4.25, 4.25. Yeah, man.
Look, and we may be being conservative, like
right. Like,
but go out of your way to see this stretch of matches. The Shuri versus starting from the Shuri match to the Julia match. This 3-match stretch. These matches are all under 15 minutes.
Right.
So
and the reason why these matches
take you less than an hour.
Right. And the reason why we're giving these ratings like these 4.25, 4.5 things, because like the quality of these matches are easily 4.5. They just go short. Like the amount of action in pacing you see in these things are fucking excellent. Like these are like easy rewatchable. You will throw these on and just have a blast. Like this is why I love the Grand Prix so much. It's like it's sprint wrestling at its finest, and it's the best thing Stardom does. Is like singles matches that go like 13 minutes. They're awesome.
This match was a sicko match, a true sicko match with Julia and Honor. They did a pile driver through the Japanese table on the outside of the ring as well.
Yes. That was basically
tons of just top rope moves, big bumps.
Because Ano got the suplex on the thing after they threw each other around in the sections of the chairs. That's how Julia came back with the big power driver on the table. Yeah.
Yeah, man. This was excellent as well. Yeah. Like just such a contrast of styles here, like from the last couple of matches. Like as pretty as it was with Mayu Hazuki, it was like I always call Julia the ruffian, right? But like she mucking this shit up and then making that shit like looking like, yo, we can do whatever you want. You want to brawl? We can go.
We can do anything except for fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like, look, I don't really need this match after what happened in that Nasty Boy strap match, and it was like, what strap match? That shit, pretend it never happened. Like, don't fucking do that shit no more. She's awesome. She's a great, like, you know, I've said this to you over the years, like, I know she's very good. I don't know how good. Well, when she's in Stardom, she's gonna be fucking great because she's in there with other wrestlers on her level or better. And she's good enough, and she's damn good as well. So like, she gets to do. She gets to be able to wrestle her full potential as opposed to being, you know, around the scene, not being pushed that hard. She's a freelancer and does stuff here, there, and everywhere, so she doesn't really get a concerted push. And these other promotions don't have like a straight stream of challengers and all that kind of stuff. So like, this is the best place for her. And you know, as far as, you know, match to match, bell to bell quality, and look, she's already living up to it because she's had some bangers this year in Stardom. You know, it's the one dub with Nasty Boy and the strap match excluded. But
you have to do to see this show.
Yeah. And you talked about the main event. It was starting out very well, you know, but it had the same thing as I mentioned. Like, it's, you know, a lot of Julia, a lot of Tam, like the wrestle on the outside. It kind of makes me check out. Be like, all right, let me know when y'all get back in the ring.
I'll say this, like coming directly off the Julia and Ano match, like it felt like they like subconsciously influenced the start of this main event.
I think they were going to do that regardless because it was like, because it's those two, and you think of their Sumo Hall match that they've had, and they love to jump off shit, and they love to do like Hurricane Ranas off of crazy spots, like because they started out with like, you know, Kamatani, like you know, they were in the ring for what, maybe 2-3 minutes before they went out there and stayed 5 minutes out there, and they already did a springboard that Tam caught into a anti-air RKO. They already started off with the shits, so they were trying to you know, in their way top whatever was out there. And these are the consequences when you try to go that high. And, you know, nobody, you know, obviously this wasn't intentional. This is a freak accident and everything else. I just hope Kamatani, you know, comes back better and stronger from this. And cause I'm really bummed out. Cause like, bro, like I've raved to you about that match he had with Shuri. I want to see another one of those. Like that might be my second favorite, Kamatani match ever in a singles capacity. So, it sucks. But yeah, man.
Do you think someone's gonna replace her, and if she does get a replacement, who would you like it to be?
Tekla. I wanted Tekla to. I thought Tekla should have been in here. Quite frankly, there aren't 20 wrestlers in this promotion better than her. And you know, it sucked that she barely missed out last year, but it should be her. I know there are people who are going to be saying, you know, what about Mai or Ina
Lady C?
Or C? I mean, look, there's a half a dozen wrestlers that are good enough to be in this tournament, even with the cutoff at 20. Unfortunately, not everybody can make it. And if I had my choice, I would go with Tekla because, like, if you're going to lose Kamatani, you're going to have somebody make. That's the thing about it. Like, because Kamatani was, you know.
Probably a lot of main events.
I think me and you both would say this. I think she was the second best women's wrestler in the world last year.
Yeah.
So you're losing. Like, this tournament is going to be hurting without a wrestler of that level in here. So you need to try to, you know,
Approximate.
Make the points match where we need somebody to be able to close enough to replicate that level of production. So put Tekla in. If she only wins, 6 points, so be it. But you just rejigger the points around to make it work.
Man. Bro, I was bummed, man. Like I was bummed. I was like, man, because I found out she got injured before I watched the match. I just
because of Mike. Was it because of Mike?
I don't know. I don't know if it was Mike. I think I just saw it on Twitter or whatever. But yeah, I was just like, fuck, like, and just hoping something different happened when I watched it. I don't know what I was expecting different to happen, but yeah, like if that shit goes down, like, this match like goes off the way it was supposed to. Like, looking at this show, this is like, it's up there, man.
I mean, this year alone, right? Have there been 5 better first? Have you? Sorry. Have there been 5 better shows you've seen this year? Even with the dead main event.
Yeah, it's hard to say because I just forget.
Right.
I'll probably forget overlook some shit.
I think the Revolution. Revolution
was up there.
What was the best pay-per-view AEW had this year? Was it Revolution?
I think it was Revolution or Forbidden Door, one of the two.
So Revolution, Forbidden Door, Stardom's, or Revolution, Forbidden Door, WrestleMania Night 1. I'm not saying it's as good as I'm just saying things off the top of my head. The Stardom Yokohama Arena show, and was it
Wrestle Kingdom?
Not Wrestle Kingdom Night, not Wrestle Kingdom, but Sakura Genesis.
Okay.
Or you want to throw both of them on there, but I think that this show was better than some of the ones I mentioned. Yeah,
bro. Like Dream Queendom, that was up there.
Yeah. Well, Dream Queendom was in the last year.
Or whatever. What's the one?
Arena.
Yeah, Yokohama Arena. Yeah.
It's called what? Stardom All Star Dream Queendom. No, it's Stardom All Star Cinderella or Dreams, whatever. It's Yokohama Arena. It makes it easier to
Finals
say.
show. Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, that was way up there too. That's true.
All Star Grand Queen. Yeah,
All-Star.
man. All these joints sound the same, dog.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. The only one I know is Dream Queen because that's Sumo Hall joint. Yeah, but just an awesome show.
Awesome.
So Zekumaki asked us before the show started, like to who do we think are the top 5 workers in Stardom? Wow, that's really tough because like you could say like half of you can say like a dozen people.
A lot of different combos here.
Say again?
I said a lot of different combos.
Yeah. So for me, how I've always done it is I've always done a tiered ranking system where like I have Shuri and Mayu as the top 2 and like however you want to put it, that's it. Just because of versatility and the level of quality and the things they will do to themselves to get a match over, and also just their skill level. I think they're just notches above everybody else. No disrespect, but they fill more holes in the what do you call it? Like the attribute thing, like creative players than anybody else, in my opinion, in Stardom. Those 2. Then after that, I would for years I had Momo right after that. And Utami. The last year or so has made me be like, well, is Utami, the attribute of motivation is ticking down, it seemed. So like I kind of put her, I kind of feel like Utami has been up front of her as far as the motivation. Not the skill, just the motivation. We'll see, this could obviously change because if, giving a fuck, you can turn that on or off. It's a light switch. So that's kind of how I had it. And then after that, because of the level of the number of great matches and everything, I'd have Tam there. And then basically on the same tier, I would have Julia.
I think I'm gonna go. I'll go Shuri. I'll go Sai Kamatani. I'll go Mayu. I will go Utami, and I'll go Azumi. For me,
yeah. I mean, going off of what do you say? Outworking people. See, like I'm a little different when it comes to it. It's like, hey, the output of high quality matches, so I'm kind of giving that a nod as opposed to just straight out who I think are just a flat out just like the cleanest workers. Because then I would have Azuki and Azumi on there if I had to switch that up, right?
Yeah.
I would move Tam and Julia down to make room for Azuki and Azumi in that case. But yeah, I get it totally.
Yeah. Hope that answers the question. But moving on, so we had some news from AEW today. Roosh has re-signed with AEW, presumably a longer term deal. The terms are not out yet or anything like that, but I'm sure it'll hit the news feed and all that. And gotta say, happy to see Roosh re-sign. I think he did an excellent job. Like, the last year he was like on his best behavior and came in. He wrestled a bunch of hard ass matches, like with a lot of the roster: Hangman Page, John Moxley, Bryan Danielson, Bandito, I believe. He had just a lot of great like TV matches. And then I'm like, man, I'm looking at all these. I was watching the AAA show. I was watching WWE go to Mexico. And do well. I was like, man, can we just like can we push Roosh, one, and then two, turn him babyface? Because man, I'm looking at this roster of heels right now. It's so overrun, especially like heels that haven't broken through yet, right? I'm like, man, somebody got to go the other way, and I'm like, why not this guy? Like, he's got obviously tons of charisma. I don't think much is going to change about his work, his wrestling style if he turns babyface. And I just like the guy, like based on the last year of stuff that he's done.
Yeah, same here. I also have some political concerns about him as far as like, will he do real jobs? Is he willing to do real jobs? But outside of that, like as far as his work and his effort and motivation, like, we talked about this when he first came in. We were like, you said it, like, I'm not really, at first you were like, I don't know, because obviously he don't give a fuck a lot, right? Like we talked about Willow, like it's a light switch. And I said to you, like, bro, the money will make him turn that shit on. And luckily I was right that the money has made in the recognition and being on, American television has made him turn that shit on. And like when he has a match, I will watch it. Because he's that level of guy when he's on. So yeah, I'm glad he's back. I'm interested to see how he grows more roots into AEW and who he matches up with. Because like there's a lot of guys that he hasn't wrestled yet. Like you mentioned his babyface turn potentially and what that could be. Because obviously how charismatic he is and everything. And it's like I would love to see him as babyface versus Swerve. That'd be awesome. I mean, there's a lot of people I like to see versus Swerve, but the same thing with Roosh. Like there's a lot of people like to see Roosh wrestle too.
Yeah, like I'm just thinking about all the heels that are around now. You mentioned Swerve. There's Jay White. There's Jungle Boy. There's
oh my god, him and Jay White would just have a chop fest. That'd be good.
Yeah,
really good.
There's Ricky Starks who's back heel. There's Powerhouse Hobbs. There's Big Bill. There's like Konosuke Takeshita. Just like tons of people just like in that range. And then you think about the babyface side, and it's like, all right, there's Orange Cassidy. There's the Elite that's around. And then it's like, who else? Like, there's CM Punk that's kind of doing this weird thing. But yeah, like I think Roosh can like carve out his own like his own deal. Like and I think the guy's like proven enough now at this point. And he's like, if he signed for quite a long time, shit, and you got to get somebody going.
Yeah.
But moving on from that, there was a big match last Friday night. I want to talk about it was Willow Nightingale taking on Athena, the main event of the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. And James, this ruled. This was two black women in the main event, pushed as such on commentary and talked about as much in the post show by Athena, which I think everybody should check out her interview.
I need to check that out.
I think that I thought it was a very bold decision to do the finish how they did. But I wasn't. I didn't hate it at all because I feel like Willow's destiny is somewhere else other than the Ring of Honor Women's title. Respectfully, this was their third match, and it looks like this was planned to go on last. This wasn't like a last minute decision. This was like a couple weeks ago. It was locked in. They did have some issues with this card, like, people dropping out and stuff like that. But just when it comes to the work on this one, like, they had the crowd going crazy. They came in there both looking like stars, and it was like, I love this. Like let's get this kind of wrestling represented in AEW at the top levels.
So in the middle of the match, probably like the first half of the match, I had this thought. I can't remember seeing a women's match with this much cool shit in it, as far as like, not nifty, but like cool looking moves in it. Whereas like they're rare moves, right? It's like they're doing stuff with like a little twist on it to make it a little different. I haven't seen a match with this much cool shit in it since like the Azumi and Starlight Kid high speed match from back in February in a women's match. I was very impressed with the stuff they did. And I gotta say, like, after a while, as we talked about, like watching 4 hours of sprint wrestling at the highest of levels, over the weekend, watching a women's wrestling match wrestled at an American main event pace at the first, I was like, what the fuck were people talking about by praising this match at first? And then the moves start coming. I was like, okay, never mind. They're building. My brain, Stardom has ruined my brain. I just want people to get straight to the shits, right? Like, forget all that stuff. Just go straight to it, straight to the ass kicking. And, they just told a great story back and forth and everything. And it reminded me a lot of like the late teens takeover women's matches, title matches. Like, it really reminded me of those. Like, and obviously, Athena with her run as Ember Moon with Asuka and everything has a couple of those in her bag or whatever else in her resume. But like, this was one that she'd be like, look, it's been a long time. I was kind of chewed up and spit out in WWE or whatever else. And even when I was doing good work back in NXT, I didn't get, whatever. They let me go. I'm in AEW, now I'm in Ring of Honor, and she has like taken her role and has like, she's the best women's wrestler that's based in America this year. She just is. Yeah. And Willow's not too far behind. She's somewhere in the top 5 too. She, they had a great match. And, me personally, I got into the match after, because I knew when they traded, their kickouts of each other's finisher, I was like, that's not the end. I didn't fall for either one of those. But when she hit the second, or she calls it the O-face. She hits the second O-face. I almost called it the Eclipse. It's not the Eclipse anymore. She hit the second O-face, and she slapped on the crossface. I thought that immediately, I was like, oh, this is great, because they're going to now, like, she's going to make the ropes, everyone, really into it, and then, like, we're going to go, like, 3 more minutes and then get a finish. And Willow milked that submission and eventually passed out, and that was the end. But they were at greatness already, but like they could have gotten to the 4.5 territory if they had got back up after that one. They were dangerously close to getting 4.5 stars out of James Boyd with that slow ass start. That match was cooking, and it was really fun to watch. And like, like Willow's another person that we talked about, kind of like with Mina. You could throw her into most improved this year too. Obviously a lot of that is given like, major minutes or whatever else compared to like what she was doing before in her wrestling schedule. But if she hasn't like made people stand and take notice yet, then like you've been under a rock. You just ain't not paying attention, because like she has done.
Like, she's got something going right now.
The last like 6 months, maybe even longer than that. You could say like she's done incredible.
Yeah. I was just watching this match, and it was just like so evident that this is the way the women's wrestling should be represented in AEW. Like, and no disrespect to anybody that's there now that's doing their thing and all that, but it's like the effort's got to be there. But you got somebody like I never really thought they had the person to really connect all the dots, like with the work and the overness, and then the personality kind of, until Willow Nightingale has come along and, you know, started to heat up the way she has. I feel like the rest of this, you know, the immediate direction in this promotion needs to be about Willow Nightingale's chase of the championship eventually. It's fairly obvious to me that should be the play. Like, you know, you want to wait and get Jamie Hayter back, cool, and let her do her thing, cool. You want to still keep the Outcast in the mix. You want to keep Britt in the mix. You want to keep Thunder in the mix. You know, when she's back, cool. The future is Willow. Like, in the now, she has a real great argument. It needs to be Willow.
You watch that match, and you think about the last time they had a women's match that good in the company. That was December, and it's like, why aren't either one of these two on Wednesdays or Saturdays holding one of the two belts? That's kind of how I felt. No disrespect to Statlander, no disrespect to Tony Storm, but it's like, what are we doing here? Like, you know, and it was interesting because remember, like, Tony Storm and Athena both showed up back in NXT on the same show, and like, remember, me and you were talking about that at the time. I was like, bro, like, Ember's out wrestling her like since they came back, and it ain't exactly changed. But it's not like Tony Storm's been no slouch either. She's done well, but it's like Ember, like, I'll put it like this. Can we possibly get Rossi Ogawa on the phone? You talk about replacements for Saya Kamatani. Can we get Athena in as a replacement for Kamatani? I wouldn't mind that. Like, she has been great this year. She really has, and you know, I'm really happy for her because, you know, she had the Achilles injury or whatever else. And people almost like, you know, she didn't get pushed in WWE. And a lot of people, like, just like when Vince don't want to push somebody, they just think, oh, that person stinks now. It's like, no. Don't trust the in-ring wrestling skills of a wrestler based off Vince McMahon's, you know, weird fetishes. Stop that. And she's one of the, you know, she doesn't have to wear. She's one of the big. She doesn't have to wear. Sorry,
I was gonna say she doesn't have to wear red contacts anymore. You know, she can just go out there and do her thing.
Yeah, she doesn't have to like be confused on whether or not her muse is the moon or if she is the moon. Yeah. So yeah, just she's one of the big positive like post WE like run like people, like, you know, there's people like Matt Cardona, there's people like Moxley, there's people like her. You say the same thing about people like Tony Storm, whatever else. Like, she's definitely on that list of people that like have done very well for themselves post leaving the E. Happy for her, because I always thought that she was one of the best workers that we had in women's AmRest and she's showing it. And she's a workhorse too. She's out there almost every week out there on them shows. I don't watch. I hear about them and I see the highlights and I'm just like, it feels like she's like the best wrestler on the fucking promotion.
Oh, it's, you know, it all started
or when the brand.
Look, it all started when she hit a white lady too hard, you know, and everybody started, you know, clutching their booty cheeks together and not, you know, realizing that, you know, how the shit, you know, whatever happened between them, like, you look, it's y'all fault, you know, like y'all did this.
She's doing quote unquote real rap wrestling, and you know, a lot of folks ain't built for that. No disrespect against them, but like, you put on what she puts on, and you put on what they put on, and you tell me what viscerally strikes you, like what gets your blood pumping. Athena's doing that. Willow's doing that. Jamie Hayter's doing that. Hikaru Shida's doing that. Emmy's doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. Bring these two women to AEW Dynamite, please. Said for a reason. So let's get to Blood and Guts. Excellent show last week. Just loaded from Boston, Massachusetts. And this was like, you got your big culmination of blood and guts in the main event. We opened up Jack Perry taking on Hook for the FTW championship. This man, Jack Perry, comes out. They play the music. He doesn't walk out. And then they cut to a video. He's in the desert. He's burying his boots. He's digging a hole like he's at Casino, and he's ready to turn on Nikki Santoro and hit it with the bats and beat him to a pulp and throw him in a hole. If you've never seen Casino, please go see it.
It's great, but it's also like hilarious with like unintentional comedy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Joe Pesci, all-time performance. Jack then comes out to Beethoven's Fifth, I believe, and then he's also wearing all black, and then he has a black version of the boots, kind of look like a version of Rush's or Tetsuya Naito's boots. Okay, and he What did you think of this entrance? Because I saw people like talking about it and they didn't quite understand, but it's such a departure from,
Well, he's different now, so you got to give him different. I didn't think it was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think it was bad. It was fine because like I liked it for what he's trying to do. Like, do I think it's like, do I think he needs to come out here looking like Malachi Black? Not necessarily, but like this is a good start. Like you got to transition from evil to Satanness. Like there's
there
steps.
Are levels.
Yeah, there's levels.
There are levels down. You need to go.
Yeah,
no, I ain't normal.
Yeah, there's levels. There's different. He has to go through the different circles of hell to get to where Malachi is in the House of Black. Yeah.
Yeah. But
When that man shows up with like the Michael Beasley rookie starter kit, all of a sudden that man shows up one week, all of a sudden he has like 15 tattoos on him. He's like, wait, where did these come from? I just saw you before the draft. You have no tattoos. Now all of a sudden now all of a sudden you got a sleeve? What's going on?
We're gonna be seeing Jack Perry drinking beer and smoking Marlboro Reds on the side of the building and shit. Like, what's wrong with this guy? Like, but yeah, he then proceeds to give Hook the best match of Hook's life. In winning the fail to win championship in a process. Jack wins the FTW belt. I liked everything up until they did the dumb finish, the cheating finish, and it was like not a particularly creative one.
Not at all. Look, I didn't see this match live. I saw. By the time I got to my screen to watch it, I saw just the ref bump and then the thing, and I had to rewatch it, and I was like, I don't know if I even want to. I had to like double my efforts to actually rewatch it eventually, because I was like, man, fuck this, fuck the end of this match. I don't give a. It could have been a 5-star classic, and I don't give a fuck about this match. I was so furious looking at the end of this thing, and that's all I saw with no context or whatever happened before then. I hated it. I really did. I was like, this is so lazy. It's the cheapest of heat. Go to hell. I was like, why is Jarrett back there telling them how to do these finishes? Like, who is back there giving them all the bad old carny finishes to get out of this shit? Oh, that was just nasty. It was nasty, man. It really was.
Put the arm on Hook, beat him. Hook streak is over. And I guess you rebuild Hook from here, but Perry has a belt. This man
now is a new failure to win champion. Outstanding.
Amazing. They show a video of Callis and Jericho having a meal together. Security basically kicks them the fuck out. Then we've got more.
When did Longhorn Steakhouse get security like that to kick people out?
I don't know.
Okay, because I see Jericho in a restaurant. That's the first thing I'm assuming after that man lost the fucking world title at a Longhorn Steakhouse.
Callis keep the security on deck.
Oh man.
No, because he's pie. Then we got. Look. He went to Mexico. He went and saw about it. He should have brought the security with him there.
Yeah, he should have. Have we got an update? Is he okay?
I think he's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So we got more MJF and Adam Cole pre-tape shenanigans. I think this one was abysmal. They were at Kowloon restaurant.
Oh,
talking about how spicy the Chinese food was. I was like, all right, man. This was like a step away from that sushi skit that Zoe Stark and Io Shirai did that one time.
But the joke on that one was that like, these foreigners have funny, nasty food. Where like the joke on this was like, oh, these white guys can't. These white guys have no palate for heat. I thought in a good way. It was like, well, the joke is actually on them, not at the expense of the restaurant.
Yeah, I saw the food.
I see what you mean. Either way, it's still kind of like it's still the hokey, sports entertainment stuff. I get it.
Yeah, the food didn't even look particularly appetizing. I was like, really? I was like, they getting ripped off out here.
It's like
they don't know no better.
Well, no, it was like the whole thing is like MJF wanted to go to a better restaurant, and like the more common man is Adam Cole. And meanwhile, like they're getting this food and it's super hot, and then like they're scarfing down or they suck down their drinks, and their drinks were like just raw alcohol, and they were like. They didn't sell that well, but it reminded me of like when him and Jericho had that argument over like they want to take the more raw steak, and then they both basically like ordered blue, where you're going to basically just like, hey, just wipe this cow's ass and bring it out. It was one of those. It was like, okay, they're just being goofballs, and like, hey, it is dumb, it is, but I do enjoy their chemistry together. They're really good and funny together as far as like their dynamic. I really do enjoy it, and somehow this has become like my favorite thing in the company outside of Blood and Guts. I don't know how they've done it, but I just enjoy this stupid shit. I really do.
Yeah. Then they I feel like they got their head slapped on some PF Chang shit. I'm like, hold on, man, this shit ain't even good, dog.
Oh man, you really getting old shit. You need to let that go. I
ain't had PF Chang's since.
I'm sure.
Bring me some hibachi. Take me to Benihana's or Kobe's or something. But after that, they got back to the arena. Marvez, Jericho pulls up. Jericho does pull up with the 8-pack. He's wearing the open shirt, make sure everybody can see. And Marvez asked if Jericho made a decision, and they called him a fathead idiot. Then we got Dr. Britt Baker versus Kayla Sparks. Yep. Britt Baker, who obviously was eliminated earlier from the tournament.
Yep. By Ruby.
Time to get some wins, because it seems like like whatever's happening at All In, I'm sure Britt Baker's going to be involved. So get ready. Multiple wins here. She got a 90-second squash. Good representation for women's wrestling here. And
boy, Rich, did you see the tweet that I sent to you earlier today?
I did.
So, this is a tweet from Wrestling Mark 16 on Twitter, right?
Oh, that's always nice.
Yeah. Amount of women's wrestling on wrestling shows this week. SmackDown, 14 minutes. Collision, 9 minutes. Raw, 6 minutes. Rampage, 5 minutes. NXT, 5 minutes. Impact, 4 minutes. Dynamite, 1 minute. 44 minutes over 14 hours of television to a whopping 5.2%.
And honestly, they could have just left this off.
So, Rich, you know what this match reminded me of?
What?
Do you remember, like, when they would do the NXT the NXT tapings 2 weeks after a takeover, or 8 days after a takeover, and they would like basically like have the the winners and losers or whatever else. The losers would come back for the first 2 tapings, and they would all get their wins back after they lost in in enhancement matches. This was like Britt getting her enhancement match win, like Shayna Baszler when she lost the title. to Rhea Ripley like immediately coming out here and just getting whooping someone's ass quickly and decisively, like immediately after losing a match. Like, and Britt has lost a lot this year compared to her previous years in AEW, but like this was like, all right, we cut off the bleeding enough. We are reestablishing it, like that shit that we are going on to a new phase with Britt Baker. We were not having to do a bunch of jobs. It seemed like because there was no need for her to have a 90-second little squash. It was just like establish like bring her out here. She's a star. Let her be somebody to remind people that she is a star, even though she's done some jobs. That's what it reminded me of.
Got a good reaction, and
yeah.
After that, then we got MJF and Adam Cole talking about backstage. They then presented each other. Basically, they revealed they had matching trunks, and then they had matching ring jackets made. Those jackets are hideous.
Absolutely, completely hideous.
Yeah. And then Roger Strong comes in yelling for Cole wearing a neck brace. Bro, I'm tired of seeing Roger Strong, bro. Like, take this neck brace off this nigga. He's still hurt. Get over this. You got put in a submission move. Fuck. Yeah. After that, Jericho joined commentary. And he cut his music off before the crowd could keep singing Judas, but they sang anyway. Then Adam Cole or MJF came out, and then he was, come on out, Cole. And then all of a sudden, MJF's music hits again, but it's not his music. It's a mashup of the MJF and Adam Cole song. I heard this and I died laughing. I was like, this goddamn idiot. Like, MJF is going to get like mashups with like half the roster at this rate.
Bro, it sounded so bad. And I've never positively reacted to something that I thought was just abysmal sounding to my ears that well. I was like, this is awful. This is great. This is exactly what this is terrible. There's no rhyme or reason or coordination or any way to think these two things go together at all, but they put together because they're two fucking hams and they're doing a stupid story, and I like the story. I'm sorry, I just like it because they're really like, I really enjoy their chemistry. It is fucking working. Like, it made no sense. They clashed. It didn't sound good at all, but the crowd ate it up. I ate it up. Whatever, man. Like, you do what you want when you popping, and they popping right now. They really are.
Yep. Then we got MJF and Adam Cole against Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia, and they began this thing with I don't even know what kind of dance off I could describe it as. But they started with Garcia and Guevara, quickly went over to MJF, who displayed.
No. Tell me how long. Look, you with the JSA. How long were they? You like to do the jokes about Tam and the practicing. How long were Guevara and Garcia practicing the moves together in coordination like that? How long were they doing that for?
Man, it seemed like probably not long because like Garcia, kind of got like a natural thing going on. It seems like he does this in his spare time, but Sammy clearly does not. So Sammy was doing his best to keep up. But that being said, Sammy was not the worst person in this match.
He was not.
So
MJF goes out there, he does his dance, he's bad, whatever, it's fine. Then it's time for Cole ain't got no dance moves, so what he decides to do, I'm just gonna air hunch. I'm just gonna air hunch over and over and over. And then it was so bad that the crowd just turned the music off, or like the PA just, or whoever's controlling the music just turns it off. It's like, nah, man, record scratch. What the fuck is this? What are you doing? You ruined the whole feng shui of the whole entire vibe. Everything's off kilter. You've ruined it. Let's just have a match.
Yeah, man. I was watching this. I was just looking around. I was like, all right, let's get to it.
Rich, this was Pro Wrestling Wave brought by way of AEW Dynamite. This was comedy wrestling. This was like, our match is X amount of time. For the first third or half of it, we're going to do comedy, and then we'll give them the last half. We'll give them what people actually want. That's exactly what this was.
Yeah. I was just like, wow. Like, it just seemed such a departure. I was like, I don't enjoy this. And then they got to the match.
Yep.
And then they got to like the Cole and MJF formula is like treated like it's this house show tag match. And then like kind of build towards like some double team moves at the end and just like pair off. And then it built basically to them hitting the double clothesline and the fucking arena comes unglued.
Yes.
They hit this double clothesline. MJF does a fucking dive and acts like he's completely like, you know, this is completely against his nature. Like he didn't know it would feel that good doing it and looked around and everything like that. But yeah, this people were going crazy for this.
Bro, this is a guy that countered the Takeshita like clothesline off the top rope by laying on his feet, but and then sells you and the crowd buys it that he's incapable of doing a tope. It's like, is he a great wrestler or not? Have you not seen this dude do anything before? Like, y'all really think he's the Miz, don't y'all?
Bro, MJF has them worked on every level.
That's the thing. He sells it so well as if he is incapable, but he's not. And that's the reason why he's able to do certain things that he can get away with, and other times he'll try stuff that he can't get away with. That's the reason why he's always out here like this. It's a roller coaster with him because he's always towing this line between his capabilities and, you know, and kind of way he's kind of sets his world. It's really fascinating at times to see how this goes for him from week to week. So honestly, it really is.
Yeah, because like you can see like we talked about it last year with those promos and everything he was doing. It was like he had people wrapped around his finger, essentially. Whether, you know, you thought he was like the whole shoot thing, like people will swear to God that was real. And then like it's, you know, he's got the whole contract situation, which I think we all can wink, wink, nudge, nudge, know what's going on there. And then like between his peaks and valleys between the Danielson stuff and the Four Pillars and then this, he is a very eclectic kind of performer. Like you almost don't know what you're going to get from him.
Everything's on the table. You know what he is? He's a restaurant. He's almost like the Cheesecake Factory. We're like the menu. There's so many things he can choose from, and the problem is there's so much to choose from that it needs to be curated down and pared down to focus, so you can focus on more clearly and have more clarity for the viewer, as opposed to being able to be the person that does, you know, the dance shit and then the goofy, Vegas trips with Jericho and Inner Circle, and then do this wacky stuff with Cole, and then, cut promos about how he's doing switcheroos with car accidents with women that were giving him blowjobs. Like, there's so much stuff he does, and it's like, bro, you need to shorten your bandwidth. You're doing way too much. And like, I'm not saying pick a lane, but it's like, pick a lane for a certain time and then go to this certain thing with a certain time. Don't be going into different things where you're basically at 5 different people in 1 year. And it feels like he's been 5 different people in like the last 2 years or year and a half. It's really, really strange. And like, that's why you get like this fluctuation of highs and lows. It's like, bro, like you were a totally different dude 2 months ago. What's going on here?
So I was wrong. Garcia and Guevara did not win. Unfortunately. But FTR's music then hit. They came out. Yeah. And man. Second time on Dynamite. Yeah. These guys came out, went face to face with Cole and MJF. I think it's pretty clear what team is more popular right now. There was a promo on Collision with Dax Harwood where he was very bothered and gotten to about everything that's going on with MJF and Cole, and saying we not playing no games essentially, and got kind of a negative reaction for it.
To be fair, so how much of it do you think was in kayfabe, and how much do you think it was like him trying to toe the line of like I'm doing my shtick of like trying to rile the base?
I don't know.
Because like in kayfabe they do have the part where like MJ or FTR should rightfully hate MJF. He's a scumbag because of what happened with the end of the Pinnacle.
But they had this whole deal. MJF's music hits to end the segment, and I think like Dax is like yelling in the camera, like play the champ's music or whatever.
No, he looks at the camera and he's like, look, next time, Tony, play the champ's music. And I was like, I'm sorry, but like,
look, they did play the champ's music.
No, but I was like, my mind was like, nah, Dax, like the thing is like, while you're doing this stupid thing of you are the the underappreciated champions, like all you did was come out. They just want a match that you interrupted, or they just want a match you came out and to come face to face with them. Now you're leaving. You play the person that just won their match music at the end. That's how this always worked. That also worked. That's how that worked in the company you were in before you came to this company.
Brewhaven says Dax said comedy segments during his Collision promo. Yeah, so like it's gonna be interesting next week. I think Brian Alvarez had a pretty unique kind of take on it. He was saying, people aren't going into this match wanting to watch a classic traditional wrestling match between FTR and MJF and Adam Cole. They want to see the Cole and MJF shenanigans. Saw a lot of people advocating to not break up this Adam Cole and MJF thing. What is your take on this thing? I kind of talked about, what I thought on Grapsity, but interested to see what you think about this, because it seems fairly obvious, right?
Rich, you heard when I say this at first one after the double clothesline. There is no good reason for why they don't become the World Tag Team Champions. There's no good reason for them not to be at this point. Like, do it. Let them quickly then transition the belts to someone else after that, and then do your Cole and MJF title match. It's fine.
I don't feel like that's gonna happen.
I agree, but my point is like, how many more times does FTR have to be not the most over tag team in AEW while they're with the tag belts? How many more times does that have to happen? No disrespect to them, they just had a great match on Collision and all that kind of stuff, right? Like, but they're on the Saturday show. Look at those ratings. Look at the Dynamite ratings. Look at MJF. Look at what Adam Cole's doing. Look at what they're doing. Like, Adam Cole and MJF could potentially, right now, they're the hottest thing now that this thing is between between the Elite and Blackpool Combat Club died down. They're now officially the hottest storyline in AEW. So why don't you use the tag titles, then transition them to another tag team, much like how you transitioned the tag team titles off of the Acclaim, who were the hot tag team at the time, to FTR, like they did. And then move over there at a later time. And then you can set up towards your match towards Adam Cole versus MJF.
I got a feeling whatever's going to happen is going to be for the detriment of like everyone but FTR. I don't even want to really go into it, but they say FTR is helping with creative now, so they say tons of people are helping with creative now, so we don't know really what's going on where.
Moxley,
but I can imagine they are close to having a voice somewhere that may be of the voiceless. So
all right, just give me a head count right now. Hold on. The EVPs, so Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson. Then also people that have been talked about as far as also having input. Danielson, Jericho, Moxley. CM Punk obviously has some input. FTR, by virtue of CM Punk, also have some input. I just saw that Orange Cassidy helped produce a match recently.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has input, apparently. Except for women. But whatever, it seems. Whatever.
Well,
Britt has, because that's the Bakerverse, what's going on. So yeah, that she has input. Everybody else, I don't know. Where's Riho? What the fuck? I saw a tweet from Sheeta saying that she's back in America, and I had quote tweeted and I had typed "save us" and almost tweeted that bitch off and fired that off. I left it alone. I didn't do it. I'm letting y'all know. Rich knows I sent this. I screenshot that and I sent it to a group. Rich knows I almost said that, but that's where I am right now with this women's division in AEW in 2023. Come save us, Hikaru Shida, please. But yeah, man, like, you know, a lot of input. So some can't get input.
Look, a lot of input, a lot of egos, a lot of, you know, people not want to lose to each other, I imagine, with that, and who should win this, and man, there's an interesting decision coming, I think. Not really one I particularly care about. I don't care if they win these belts. I don't care if they lose MJF and Cole, because obviously their destination is the world title. Yeah. Like, this shit ain't about no tag titles or whatever, but it's people liking it so much. I can say that maybe part of me would take some pleasure in watching the FTR downfall. But you know, who is FTR really like circling at this point now? They finished with the Bang Bang Gang. I see they tried to drop the Young Bucks in the promo to try to get something whirling, but I don't know. I feel like they're not going that way.
I don't know what they're doing, man.
I mean, All In is coming. Like, if you were going to do an FTR and Young Bucks match, I would think that would be the place you probably try it, right?
I mean, let's not pretend like they haven't done it twice already.
Oh, yeah.
You know, people like to pretend like they've only had one. They've had two. So,
look.
Yeah.
They do that shit at All In and belt switching, bro. Look, unless Matt and Nick are like, you know what? We're all right. But moving forward,
I think there's a big part of that too. I think it's like, look, man, we want no parts of that whole situation that's going on. Like, it seems apparent that BCC Elite, they want no parts of Saturdays, no parts.
Yeah.
Like, how many times we got to see Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley work Saturdays in other promotions? Before it becomes obvious, right? Like,
I will go to Mexico before I go to Collision.
Rich is basically saying I'd rather go to Mexico than Canada, where I'm fucking born and from. That's basically what has been happening this whole tour, is the whole Canada tour. That's what Kenny Omega's been doing. You got Jon Moxley out here doing fucking pro-am shoot fighting on the weekends and shit, besides pro wrestling on Saturdays.
They decided to legitimately compete. Fuck this.
Yes.
I'm about to go beat up a white belt somewhere.
It's quite apparent what the fuck's going on. No, it's not stated in obvious terms, but like, actions speak louder than words, and actions they're saying fuck that team, fuck that side, fuck that show. It's happening.
Man.
And it's funny because it keeps playing out this way. We were saying, like, I think this is happening, and then it keeps happening. It keeps going. Like, when they gonna announce Adam Page on an episode of Collision? When the fuck's that gonna happen? Oh, never? Okay.
Never. There was something that I wanted to say. Oh, they also have this thing that's going on in Collision too. I just want to point this out, and if people start noticing this and it takes a life of its own, it's not my fault because they started fucking doing it. I just noticed it. When there are jobs to be done or protection to be had, they are importing people from Dynamite to do these jobs on Collision.
I didn't notice that.
Roger Strong.
Yeah.
Darby Allin this week.
Okay.
There probably were. Swerve came in, worked with Tanahashi.
That's right.
Hasn't been seen since.
Yep. Didn't Sky Blue come out there and get beat on Collision by Tony Storm?
I think the women much like the other situations, do not count.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Unfortunately. But I've got 3 examples right there. Let's see if this keeps happening.
Okay.
So, let's just skip to it. There were some backstage segments setting stuff up for Rampage. You know, we're not worried about that too much. There was the Royal Rampage. Darby Allin and Swerve, it came down to Darby won that, and then they are actually having a match this week, so we will see where that goes. But we got a video package on the history of the Golden Elite, the BCC. The main event's up next, and we got the Golden Elite defeating the Blackpool Combat Club, presumably the blow off to this thing. It's been a great feud, pretty much the whole first half of the year, stretching back to Moxley and Hangman thing, and kind of like 9-10 months or whatever. This was excellent. This is my favorite Blood and Guts that they've done in this promotion, and it was there's a lot of if I wanted to write the column and I wanted to get all sappy and quote unquote corny and all that, I could do it like about this. Like, I had like a quick line to kind of describe what I felt the story for this whole thing was. It was like, always fight with and for your friends. And, like this was, I thought this was a really cool match. Really cool to see the Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Hangman Page, and Kota Ibushi on top at the end. We got them beating like a hell of a fucking team with the way they laid this thing out. They started with Kenny and Claudio going at it. We get extended minutes on that. Both of those guys go 45 minutes. Then it's like, fuck it, we going straight into it. Like, is John Moxley coming out? Is Hangman Page coming out? Is Konosuke Takeshita coming out? Is Matt Jackson coming out? Is Nick Jackson coming out? Is Wheeler Yuta out? And then Pac was out third, excuse me. And then the last person was Kota Ibushi. Beds of fucking nails, glass. Just like I really shouldn't have to say more than that, but
superplex, superplex, Pac double foot stomp off the top of the cage through Matt Jackson on the table. That was awesome.
Screwdrivers. Moxley coming in, stabbing with the forks.
Yes, off rip. Like straight to the bleeding. Look, there's not enough blood in here. It's blood and guts. I'm here to provide the blood for y'all.
Yeah.
Come get poked.
Wore red, to review Blood and Guts,
Yeah. Oh, you stupid.
But yeah, Pac swinging off the cage, that shit was like a kid at a fucking jungle gym. Like, you know what? I'm up here, and then, whoa, I'm not. Yeah, this whole thing was this thing was epic. I thought this is one of the best matches of the year, and it was just like this lived up like 100%. Like, a lot of people like had their misgivings about it. I think the other two Blood and Guts matches, and I was right there nitpicking at some of them, but this one was like I know some people didn't like the walkouts at the end. I
like the walkouts. So you know what they did?
What?
They gave more time for the wrestlers to be in the ring and work their spots, as opposed to they're right at the cage. You have to get right in. Like,
oh no, I meant the walkouts at the end of the match.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, some people didn't like those, and I don't know. I'm not going to try to change your mind on the walkouts. I'll just say it worked for me because it was just like, like this team of mercenaries, like kind of blows up, trying to defeat this unified force. And if anybody's gonna blow up, it's Pac for sure. That lines up with him. That's like fucking Bad News Brown or something.
Yeah. Like it worked because it was believable and it made sense. Like, all right, earlier in the match they had they almost ran into each other. They almost blew up. Moxley had to stop them. They blew up again. Pac's like, fuck this. The second time this guy is like, we've had words or whatever else. I'm in this match. I'm done. I'm out of here. And then the tide was turning. Then they're about to lose. So Callis comes down and gets to catch, say, hey, come out of here. Nah.
Not for us, baby. Let's regroup.
Remember in 2000, was it 18, when they were having Dolph Ziggler take L's when he was tagging with McIntyre, and they're like, make McIntyre far away from the ring as possible? Yes. It was like, they're like, nah, bro, you got to get you out the frame when these losers lose. So get them out of here. And then it proceeded to be some 3-on-5 babyface beating the hell out of these assholes that's caused some hell the last 6 months. It was perfectly fine for me. And then, boy, they beat the shit out of this bro. This nigga Willow Yuta. They pulled out the handcuffs. They handcuffed Moxley. He couldn't do shit. He was stuck there. And then Yuta was sitting there. That man was out there bleeding to death. As three niggas is choking him with a chain, he wouldn't give up. So Moxley's like, this damn dummy finna die. Hey man, throw this shit out. Like, man, this damn dummy wants to be us so bad he's willing to die for it. All right, you deserve to live.
Die for Regal.
You deserve to live. Well, I quit. I give up. I surrender.
Bro,
good job, Yuta. You know, Moxley probably like he got heart.
Like a couple months ago, Moxley was in that damn chain with Heyman Page on the other end of it. Like,
yep.
I kind of took it like Heyman looked at him like, I'll do to him what I did to you. Quit playing. Like give up. Like,
yeah, yeah. I did like that. I did like it was, you know, between the Elite, you had the Golden Lovers who are dressed in the Kotobushi blue, white, and gold thematic, colorway, and then you had like the Young Bucks and Paige. They're dressed in like notably the Dark Order colorway of the white, the black, and the purple, and like
hard. By the way,
look, man, that Dark Order set right there, they choked the shit out of you. It was like we'll kill you if you don't tap out, bitch, or let go, surrender. They made Moxley tap out. Man, that's just really fun. I really don't really enjoy like some of these matches that have like the crazy shit like Glass and I didn't.
Tax. We didn't even mention those.
Tax were in there. Well, because the Tax came out after the bed of nails, so it was kind of like, it kind of went down actually. But whatever. Like you had Moxley going out there with that bed of nails, and Omega went into that. Moxley went into it, and then Moxley took the fucking, standing moonsault knees from Ibushi onto it. Just wild shit, man. Yeah. So like, as far as a plunder match of the year, that'd be my plunder match of the year. It's the best blood and guts I've seen. It might be. I think I like the 2019 War Games from NXT better, but like at the same time, because it was more of a actual match than like we're going to turn into a Moxley bloodfest, but still, it's way up there. It was awesome, and like for those that have not enjoyed, the War Games Blood and Guts from, WWE and AEW, I feel like if you have a problem with this match, then like, I think you're just like caught in the nostalgia of back then. I just think you are. Because I mean, this match had story. This match had characters making decisions. This match had incredible, weird, unique violence to it, and this match had excellent pacing. And I thought it utilized like the commercial breaks better than any of these other Blood and Guts I've had.
I was gonna mention that. I was gonna say I felt like I didn't even notice where it was like, oh, there's some big letdown happening.
Because when the Hills got the advantage, they went to commercial break and it came back.
Yeah,
that was smart. That was very smart of them. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Kota Ibushi came out looking a tad different than normal. He had kind of a rough night. We got to talk about it. I went on a big rant on Grapsody, talking about people who had a lot to say negative about Kota Ibushi. Like, sorry, he was outrunning the Yakuza for the last however long. He came out, wasn't tanned, didn't have the old Ibushi physique. He looked
really good as opposed to having one of the best physiques in the history of the business. That's the difference.
Yeah. So he gets in and he's kind of struggling with some of his timing
rusty
on his strikes.
He was rusty as hell.
He broke his shoulder, I think, was it the 2021 G1 finals?
Yeah.
So he's had 2 matches since then. I think people should allow him to get some time because I think this guy's going to be around. I feel like he's on the Wembley card, and I think he'll be fine by then. I could be wrong, but I'm going to bet on one of the greatest wrestlers of all time to figure something out here.
Yeah. I'm not freaking out over it either. So, and also like it seems like he's going to be in tags if he's going to be around. So like he can be hidden if, he's not him, and like him not being him, he's still, like remember what Iverson said about Jordan at the Jordan's last All-Star game. He's like, Michael Jordan at 50 will still be better than 90% of the league. It's like it's the same thing. It's like Kota Ibushi while washed is still better than whatever percent you want to put on of the wrestling population. I think it'll be fine.
And if he is, that man gave us lots of hard years, lots of G1s, lots of great Wrestle Kingdom matches, lots of great tag matches, lots of insane shit that you would never ever see, doing moonsaults off of the balconies and Budokan Hall and all that shit. And he's given us a lot. So it was almost like a rite of passage for Ibushi to finally appear in AEW. Like, and everyone but Rey Mysterio now has appeared in AEW in the main event of All In.
Interesting.
The first one, and it was like everyone was waiting when is one of the Golden Lovers reuniting, and a lot of people were happy about this, and it was a good night for a lot of fans of these guys, and it was just like. I thought we saw like the end of something like pretty epic that went down like with this whole BCC Elite thing. And I can't imagine watching this feud and just not kind of understanding it and like the kind of importance of this whole thing, right? With the BCC saying we are the elite in AEW, and how much of a direct challenge that is literally to what the fucking company letterhead says, right? And then they go to fucking war for months in like classic multi-man matches, like from the fucking Anarchy to Arena to Forbidden Door, the cage match, the singles match with Kenny and Wheeler Yuta, Konosuke and Takeshita getting involved in this thing, turning Don Callis getting involved in this thing, all the beatdowns, the screwdriver stuff that was a constant theme throughout in all this. Unfortunately, Bryan Danielson got injured, so he couldn't be a part of the blow off thing. But him getting in there and doing the turn, and I just thought this is such a great feud, one of the greatest feuds in AEW history. Unquestionably, and it's just like the level of matches is so high, and I just hope people appreciate this shit, because if they don't, I don't understand what they want. I think the only thing that's really missing in AEW.
I think the only thing that's really missing from people's perspective of I feel like why people love pro wrestling and what they love in long programs and rivalries is maybe the promo work wasn't there. Once we got past the Hangman Moxley section of it, and once we got involved with the Elite getting reunited, once you get to Anarchy and Arena, we kind of got and also some of the weird stuff going on with Kenny Omega's appearances, and after doing the job, leaving for a few weeks, coming back, that sort of thing. Maybe that's what was missing for some people to feel the oomph of it. But for me, all the stuff you mentioned, it was all there. And all that, a lot of that stuff is still earned off of the work that they did with the Elite, in prior years to them, breaking up, and now they're reassembled. So, for me, I love this thing. This is probably my second favorite feud of the year this year. Except that, Julia punched Tam's fucking head, or her headbutt so much she got busted open at a press conference. That's it. Those are my two favorite feuds of the year. That's it. Julia and Tam in this. So yeah, high marks for me. But I feel like if you're a person that's missing on the promo stuff, it's built over so much long form stuff over the years that it didn't necessarily need it, or at least they didn't feel like it needed it. And I wasn't necessarily missing it, but I see some people's points.
Yeah.
But either way, can't knock those matches. And if you do, you're out of your mind.
Yeah. I did not watch Collision this week. Unfortunately, I didn't see, but interesting. I heard there was some hijacking going on in the crowds, and you attract what you are, I think. And you can take that take that line to the bank.
Yeah, real quick, Rich. King of North says Omega going away was explained as him going to find a friend that's not in Canada. Yeah, I get that, but that was one of the times. There's been 3 different times where Omega's left in the last 2 months after doing the job. So now I wasn't. Yeah, that one time is explained. I'm talking about the other times. That's all.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm gonna have to catch up more on Collision. I didn't see.
Same. I gotta recommit
most of the stuff. So, we will see, go in coming weeks, what's going on there. They brought in Christian, I believe. He teamed with Ricky Starks. I don't care what certain people will tell you, what people are trying to say. CM Punk is being pushed as a babyface that is supposed to get cheered. Ricky Starks is actually supposed to get booed. However, everything's fucked up because, yeah. And then from there, I think this week we've got the MJF Cole stuff. They're doing a ladder match with Andrade and Buddy. I believe they're hanging the mask up above it.
I heard about that. Tony Khan. Doesn't Tony Khan have possession of the mask right now?
Bro, I have no idea who has
I think it's along the lines like, Julia Hart took the mask at first, and then basically it's like, all right, so we're going to have a ladder match with the mask up there, which means like at some point Tony Khan or someone in AEW has the mask to be able to put it up there, and it's like, but it's my mask. Give me my mask back. What the fuck?
Right. The fuck is this?
Like, yeah. Do I need to get the police involved? You stole something from me. What the fuck? It is on camera. It's all on camera. It's on live national television. It's on live cable.
It seems kind of quick to be going to a ladder match, man. When I start seeing ladder matches, I'd be like,
this episode
somebody
6?
Not want to get pinned.
It's episode 6?
Yeah.
It's episode 6. They told the mask in episode 2. They haven't got much screen time, but as far as actual time is there.
Yeah.
So you are right as far as screen time. It doesn't necessarily feel the need for that, and you're right. It is a way to avoid like have someone win and lose without doing a job. But then again, it's like that must mean that like Andrade is losing because Buddy's already put him over before.
Yeah. And then. Yeah, I don't know, man. There was more. Darby Allin got imported to get pinned. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, Buddy Matthews had a tough week. All that Rhea Ripley stuff is like.
Are you talking about the person that made that weird fucking thing, that weird cuck thing? Or are you talking about like the Rhea Ripley like interview thing she did?
Interview thing.
Yeah, that was like, look, man, she's working kayfabe, so it's fine. But like,
her doing kayfabe is we fuck, like that's the kayfabe.
Yes, that's the kayfabe. Yes. because Rich, don't you? I
thought the whole thing was how much Dominic didn't fuck.
No,
like that. That's what I got out of it.
No, because the whole thing was like, why would he turn? And then he's calling her mommy. So like you're supposed to. So obviously you're thinking like she's sliding. Am I going to say this? Yeah, I'm gonna say it. You know what I'm saying? She's sliding him a piece of pussy, right? Like gotta be something to make him turn on his on Rey Mysterio, the greatest dad in the world. So it's like, all right. So what is it? So obviously you're alluding to that, but then it's like, all right, well, like I'm just gonna be vulgar and say it. We fuck. Now, hold on.
There's another option. There's another option. What if she is not, as James heard it, sliding him some pussy? She's sliding him something else.
Wait, what?
That's the whole thing that I've got out of this.
Oh, so she's topping Dominic.
Oh yes.
I mean,
that's what I thought the whole thing was.
Well, Rich.
This very dominant woman.
Technically, would that mean that they still fucked?
Yes, but he's not really. Well, let me take that back. It's all. Look, we in the Wild West at this point.
We don't need. Look. I don't care what Dominic's doing.
Yeah.
And besides, look.
But how I interpreted the story,
it's all kayfabe, so it's comedy style, right? Like,
yeah.
So it doesn't matter. So
this is indeed watching. Yes.
Right. So since
this is not a horny show. We must repeat.
So in kayfabe, she's saying this is what we're doing. She obviously the whole story is that's caused him to go over to the dark side, which is like hey, however she's doing it or whatever else, Rhea putting it down because this man's turning his whole entire family.
There's a robot now.
Yeah. So anyway, she does the thing. She's playing coy, and then she says at the end of the line, and so everyone freaks out because of like, well, people don't do the whole thing like she's playing a character, she's in kayfabe, so therefore, oh my God, how does Buddy feel about this? And then somebody put out that graphic of like they make it look like Buddy Murphy's getting cucked, and I was like, yo, this is we're like 15-year-olds. We're like 15-year-olds.
Yeah, man. This whole thing is like, it's too much at times. Like between this, people going crazy when they see Sky Blue's butt cheeks. It's just like,
that's even worse than this.
I'm like, man, what's wrong with y'all, man? Like, why can't we just, I don't know, man. It's it's crazy. Yeah. Sheamus Nova, Rich analyzing Dom and Rhea sex life instead of Collision is an all-time hater move. I mean, we can look. Do you want to talk about Collision this week?
I didn't watch Collision.
No, I'm saying like, have you seen that card on paper?
I did not see the card.
That show did not have a main event before it started.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they
doing that
shit up. Yeah, they set that shit up in the opening promo. But
it's it'll be August next week, right?
Yeah, it'll be August next week.
All right, keep that shit up for another 4 weeks and see how that goes for you. See, try that shit 4 weeks from now.
Look, like we got college football coming.
Yeah, try that shit when there's Florida State LSU like at 8:00 on prime time.
Shit,
they're both ranked in the top 10. Try that shit. See how it goes for you.
Shit, what about when SummerSlam happens?
That too.
On a Saturday.
That too. But my point is like, you keep that shit up when you're like, oh, we don't have a man. Okay. I guess you'll be DVR'd.
Quick. Yeah. That's all I have for all this stuff. But as we mentioned earlier, Stardom Grand Prix. When is day 2, James? I can't wait to get some more of this. Some more of this crack.
I believe it's next weekend. I think it's the 6th.
God damn, we gotta wait that long for day 2.
It was because normally the last 2 years they did a back-to-back Saturday Sunday doubleheader. This year they were like just do one. But like I haven't looked at because right now it's like 1 o'clock or close to 1:30 over there. So I don't know if they've announced anything with what they're going to do with Kamatani slot or if they're going to do anything with their slot. But they said that like today they're going to have more of an idea of like the extent of the damage in her time frame, or necessarily they wouldn't tell us her time frame, but like they have an idea of like, all right, is she out for the tournament? Which we all think she is, but like we don't know yet. We just think she knows she has a dislocated elbow. We don't know how bad the damage is or whatever else, how long she'll be out. So if they're going to come with a replacement, are they just going to default her points out and she goes 0-9 or whatever else? We don't know any of that yet. But I was trying to say all that to stall out so I can pull up my sheet so I can see when the next show is. The next show is on the 29th. Sorry, so next weekend. So that's Julia versus Hannon, Mariah May versus Ano, and Mina versus Mariah. So and then that's a Saturday, and then the Sunday show is Nasco versus, well, that's scratched, possibly. Nasco versus Kamatani's on the book, so, who knows what the hell that is. And then Nasapoi versus Suzu and Hannah versus Mariah. So, this is a light week, honestly, coming up. But, there's still, 4 quality matches or 3 without Kamatani. But we'll see how they fill that slot.
Collision does have a card for next week. We got that ladder match we were talking about, Andrade and Buddy. Bullet Club Gold is with Juice Robinson and the Guns against Vikingo. I'm shocked he's on this show. Darius Martin and Action Andretti. So,
well, they do have Mexicans. They do have Lucha Libres on the show. We'll see. We'll see how many people that are practitioners of pro wrestling will be on the show. We'll see.
Hiroshi Tanahashi maybe the only one for a while.
That's about it. That's about it. Like, if you have you sold 40,000 tickets to the Tokyo Dome before? No, I guess that means you ain't gonna be on this goddamn show.
FTR versus MJF and Adam Cole for the tag belts. So,
okay,
you know, if I'm around,
I'll watch that.
I'll watch that show. Yeah. But yeah, that shit's funny. FTR, you know, Vikingo's out there like, man, Vikingo, look, in this rival territory, you know, they don't really let people come off the top rope or, you know, shit like that. This is Bill Watts in charge of this shit.
Oh man, that's unfair. They let Andrade do some stuff. But
They did. He did that moonsault to the outside of the ring off the ropes. I was like, all right.
He also did the
you gonna get a talking to when you walk back through.
He's stupid.
Shit.
Like, yeah. So when he did the joint off the barricade, right, they were like, hey, you're doing too much. Like, you know, what?
we gotta keep, you know, the crowd, you know, suppressed. You know?
Oh my god.
Oh.
All right, so that's all we got
inside tonight, boy. I'll holler at y'all.
All right, that's the end of the show, y'all. Thanks for listening. If you are watching from the stream, you can go to the Cash App or the PayPal. If you're listening from the podcast, you can go to our show notes. You can find the link to the red circle and donate there. And be sure to listen to other shows on the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have Keepin It Strong Style, the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, Grown Men Watch This Shit, the Grave Consequences Podcast, All Things Elite, Great Match Generator, Get in the Ring, the Great Match Generator, Get in the Ring, Meet the Press Slam, and what's the name of the fourth show?
Wrestling Disaster.
Wrestling Disaster. All right, I gotta remember that one. Gotta write that down. All right, that's all, y'all. Thanks for listening. Later.